Hello, welcome to Take 10 with the Tennessee Tribune. I'm Sandra Longweaver, Editorial Director for the Tribune, and today my guest is Dr. Kevin Rome, who is the new president of Fisk University. Welcome to Nashville.
Thank you, I'm very pleased to be here.
Yeah, and we're happy to have you here. So we're going to chat a little bit today about what we can expect coming up at Fisk now. So Dr. Rome, the last few years, let's say in the last decade, there have been several changes pretty frequently with presidents at Fisk. And as Fisk struggles to get on a sound financial bearing, and what led you to decide that this was a challenge you wanted to take on?
Well, in our initial conversations before we went on camera, you talked a little bit about my background, your son's background, coming from Morehouse.
Yes.
And one thing that anyone knows about any Morehouse man is you never run away from a challenge. And so I don't see it as something that's so challenging that it can't be accomplished. I see it as an opportunity for someone to exercise leadership and look at the great qualities that Fisk has and the great history and maximize just from the greatness that exists.
Okay. And so as you come into Fisk, what are you thinking you'll take on first? What's sort of the first challenge that you'll look at?
Building relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the first thing you have to do when you go into any new environment. Mm-hmm. It's getting to know people, getting to know the community, getting to understand, learning the culture, understanding the environment, and then you have to start to figure out what steps are necessary to move the institution along. But it really starts with just getting to know people, listening to them, building relationships, hearing their stories and their perspectives and listening to their advice and really listening and taking heed to what people have to say.
Okay. And one of the things that struck me as I went through your bio, you left Lincoln University in Missouri to come here, and how under your leadership Lincoln did grow. Do you think any of those methods you may be able to use to help Fisk grow in the same way?
Definitely. Lincoln was a great place to begin a presidency. It was a great environment, great people. Mm-hmm. And it was in Jefferson City, Missouri, which is not the easiest place to get to. It's sort of remote.
Right.
And so I look at a place like Fisk that's located in a great city and a great location, mm-hmm. that's accessible. So if we could get students in Jefferson City, Missouri, there's no doubt in my mind that we can attract students to a great institution like Fisk located in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh yeah, and Fisk does have a very rich history that precedes it. Wherever you go, yes. People know about Fisk. And so I know that you'll plan to build on that. And I'm just wondering, coming in, is there anything that you've already started to look at that might be, well, let's start here, and as you build your relationships?
Well, it's building relationships. It's looking at the infrastructure of the campus, making sure that we pay more attention to the buildings, the facilities, mm-hmm. Because people see with their eyes. That's the first thing. And so when they come on campus, we want them to see a place that's aesthetically pleasing. Mm-hmm. We have a very sound academic foundation.
Right.
But still, students want a certain level of comfort when they come to a campus, and those are things that we'll focus on, and that comes from resources. Mm-hmm. So we'll be looking for the resources in order to make that happen.
And that's challenging. So you'll be working closely with Fisk alumni as well?
With alumni, mm-hmm. With foundations, with the community. I believe that the greatest investment is going to come from the local community. Mm-hmm. I think it's the businesses, the leaders of this community who have benefited from Fisk being in the community, whether they realize it or not. They benefited from our education, they've benefited from our students, they've benefited from our presence. And so, because we've given so much, mm-hmm. now it's time for us to receive. Okay. And so I really believe that.
So time for some of them to give back. And I believe Fisk is the oldest institution of higher education in Nashville. Is that right?
They're the mother of all other institutions in this area.
Mm-hmm. So there is a lot, not just to offer in terms of businesses, but the other institutions as well. Will you also be looking to form relationships with those institutions?
Well, we have relationships, and we want to better stabilize the relationships that we have and look for new opportunities to partnership. When we look at what's happened to some of the our sister institutions in the city, we look at the growth and the resources that have been invested into those institutions. There's no reason that the same thing shouldn't be happening to Fisk. We expect that to happen.
Okay, so you've already laid out then some high expectations for the coming year, at least.
Yes, we didn't come here not to be successful.
Right.
And you talked about there have been several presidents over the past few years. And there are other institutions that have had similar experiences, but like you said, I'm the third president you've met with in your 6 years. Well, the third time's the charm.
Yes, okay. I believe you. Now, also, one of the things that has also been going on as we move forward, this is 2017, a number of HBCUs are really struggling to just keep the doors open. And as they look for financial aid from states, from the federal government, do you think Fisk will still be able to attract the financial aid that will help students stay here once they come through the doors?
Yeah, I think we'll be able to do that, but we have to look at a new model. The old model won't sustain us moving forward. Our students are in dire need of additional resources, and if you look at the way financial aid works, there's that expected family contribution, EFC. Our EFC, for many of our students, far surpasses what they receive in aid, and so we have to develop a strategy for students to fill that gap, and it can't be loans. And so we're looking at other strategies that will help students to be able to pay for their education without having to get loans, and knowing that they can't always depend on their parents or family to pay for them to go to school. So we have to be more strategic in bridging that gap.
And one of the, just before you took over as president, one of the fundraisers brought the movie Tell Them We Are Rising by Stanley Nelson to Nashville. Can we expect more things like that, which are pretty unique and drew a big crowd?
Yes, well, we have to change what we've done, because if we want the same results, we'll keep doing the same thing.
Right.
That's insanity. So we have to be innovative, and so we have to look for opportunities to do things that we haven't done before. And that's scary for some people, but it makes such a great difference when you're willing to take chances. It's high risk and high reward, and so we have to look at what we're capable of doing and go beyond what we've done before.
Okay. All right. Well, we've been talking with Dr. Kevin Rome, new president of Fisk University. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it, and I wish you the best tenure as president.
Thank you so much for having me here. I look forward to getting to know the Nashville community, the Mid-Tennessee community, and engaging everyone in what we know as Fisk University.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thanks.